I want to welcome you to the first day of the Finding Flow Summit, spiritual practices to reclaim inner peace, balance, and wholeness. I'm really glad you're here. I want to applaud you. I think God often does God nudges. He gives us a little nudge here and there through an email or however it is you find the Finding Flow Summit. God's always active in our lives to bring us to our best self and help us be happy, whole. And obviously, somewhere along the line, you heard the nudge and you're here. So I'm glad you are. I hope that you experience this week as a way of a smorgasbord of spiritual practices that you can integrate into your life. In addition to welcoming you and thanking you for being here, I want to give you a little background about the week and where this whole concept of finding flow came from. So finding divine flow comes from really observing the spiritual heroes, the giants, the wisdom keepers over the years, both ancient tradition and current times, those spiritual people that seem to be really connected to God and that they teach us a lot about their lives and how we can live. And it seems like when we look at those heroes, those spiritual heroes, there's 4 spiritual practices or lifestyles they incorporated into their lives. And those would be the format of what this week is centered around. So those 4 lifestyle practices are these. The first one is solitude. They seem to have taken daily time in whatever form or fashion was life-giving for them to get away from the busyness, distractions, and noise of the world. Time in solitude to connect with their inner selves and God as they understood God, to really listen to their heart space, to the divine guidance, to really listen quietly and create that inner space to be present to themselves and God. The second aspect of their lives that I think is part of that divine finding flow is spiritual reading. They read and continue to read the books and offerings of other spiritual writers and teachers, just a little bit further than them on the journey. It could be reading scripture, could reading the books of other authors and writers, just finding those writers out there that teach us. It could be also listening to podcasts. It could be getting daily meditations, whatever it is that allows us to read and integrate the wisdom that comes from these other spiritual authors out there. The other concept is community. Who do we surround ourselves with that help us grow? If you look at our spiritual heroes in all faith traditions, ancient and modern, Jesus, the Buddha, Thomas Merton, Henry Nouwen that we'll talk about, each of those spiritual leaders had a community of people, a small inner circle of trust that they surrounded themselves that helped them grow. Then there's also the final piece is spiritual gifts. What are your unique talents and gifts that the divine God has given you that when you discover them and put them into practice, they make you come fully alive? So those are the 4 concepts around finding divine flow. Solitude, or quiet time as I call it, spiritual reading on a regular basis, letting some authors become our teachers. The other's community. Who do we surround ourselves with that help us grow? And finally, the spiritual gifts. How do we discover our own unique talents and gifts and use them in ways that are life-giving for ourselves and the world? So that's kind of the format for this week. Monday will be on the concept of solitude or quiet time. So the speakers will focus that you'll be able to listen to as a smorgasbord of different spiritual practices that those 5 speakers introduce and integrate into their lives. Tuesday will be on spiritual reading. You'll have an opportunity to hear from the directors of the Henry Nouwen Institute to talk about Henry Nouwen as a writer and about his life. We'll also have an opportunity to have a conversation with the director of the Thomas Merton International Society to talk about Merton's life and his writings, and a number of other spiritual readers on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we'll talk about community, a number of speakers about just opportunities that people that you might want to consider to put into your inner circle of trust, spiritual director, a life coach, a writing coach. Just who do you surround yourself with that can help you continue to be the best version of yourself? And then Thursday will be on the spiritual gifts, the unique talents and gifts, including spiritual friendships, your own spiritual gifts inventory that I'll introduce you to. And just what are they, and the Heart Math Institute, how does our science and spirituality, how are they telling us that living from a heart-based part of life is the way to find that divine flow within us. I hope that each week there's each day there's a whole smorgasbord of speakers and topics. If you have an opportunity to buy the lifetime pass, you can listen to them at your leisure. If not, if you just want to do the free one, that's fine too. Just each morning, pick the speakers and topics that most interest you. And then I would invite you, after you've listened to those speakers that really speak well to you, at the end of the day, integrate a spiritual practice that you can put into your life to help you continue to find that divine flow. So, for example, on Monday, I would encourage you at the end of the day to look at your own quiet time practice and establish maybe a 20 to 30 minute daily ritual where you either walk in nature, you sit in meditation and contemplation, you do centering prayer, whatever it is that connects you with yourself and God. On Tuesday, on spiritual reading, I would invite you to, at the end of the day, pick a spiritual reader, a spiritual author that you like to read, that you can integrate into your lives, and then begin to pick up their books and allow them to be your teachers. On the community piece, literally make a circle of trust, draw a circle on a piece of paper and write in there, who are the people, maybe the 5 to 7 or less people that you really lean into that help you grow. Spiritual director, life coach, a life partner, a spouse, spiritual friends that you'll learn about. And then on Thursday, on the spiritual gifts, I would really invite you either then or now to take the spiritual gifts inventory that's on my website for free. On Friday, we'll do a live Zoom question and answer. Anybody that wants to, you can join us. We'll talk about what you learned this week, questions and answers. And I'll also introduce you to those that want to go deeper, a course on finding flow that I'll offer sometime in April, and you can sign up for. And also let you know about the book that I've written of the same topic, which is Finding Flow, Spiritual Practices to Reclaim Inner Peace and Balance, that Paulus Press will launch in March and April of this year. So sit back, enjoy. I'm glad you're here. And I hope that you continue to find your divine flow. God bless.